tonight's episode, I am getting stuck into the rear suspension on the big GQ Patrol. I wanted to get some more flex out of this big bad boy because Dad is now getting his rear locker fixed, which means he may be able to keep up with me. So I can't have that. I need to upgrade my own car to make sure I stay in front of him. Now I could go ahead and just chuck a locker in this thing, but I don't have the funds for that right now. And I thought, what better than getting into some rear suspension mods? I needed new shocks anyway. So I thought I'm gonna spice up the rear end of this thing, but I'm not gonna be spending thousands and thousands of dollars to do it. How am I gonna do that? We're gonna dive into that on this video. So make sure to tune in. I'll take you back a few months to when I was back in the shed. So we're gonna get stuck into putting some new shocks in the big Q bus. And we're gonna go for some longer travel shocks so we can get some more down travel in the rear of the car. However, I'm not going for super long setups like you'll see on a lot of GQ builds. There's a few reasons why, and we'll explain that later in the video. I'm gonna go ahead, we'll jack up the car, we'll see currently how much down travel it's got, and we'll compare that with the new shocks. So as you can see there, we haven't got a lot of travel. That is now the wheel completely off the ground, so we've got movement there. We'll go ahead and measure. Looking about there-ish. So we're looking at about 695 mil of down travel on this passenger side. Time to remove some shock absorbers. So guys, we've got the shocks out now, as you can see. I don't even know what brand these are. I think they're just, there you go, Ultra. I think they're just an eBay special. That's all right, they did their job, they served their purpose. I am replacing these two purely because they are now buggered, so they've got not, yeah, well, there you go. They're completely shagged, and you could really feel it on the road now. It wasn't great, so I knew shock upgrade was in need, and I thought, if I'm gonna do a shock upgrade, I might as well go what I want. And what I went with is Dobbo. So we've got the Dobbo IMS's monotube shock in a 4-inch rear shock. These are basically the same as the remote reservoir shocks, just without a remote reservoir. You're probably wondering, why didn't I go that way? Cost. That was probably one of the biggest reasons. I didn't see the point spending that much money on a set of shocks when I'm not doing corrugated roads every single day. For me, the price difference between these and those other ones was quite a lot. It's pretty much double. And I couldn't justify it, and I wanted to spend on a good quality shock without going over the top, and that's why I've chosen to go with these IMS's. These are going to serve the vehicle really well. It's still going to ride really nice, because now you haven't got an external line that could get knocked or hit or anything like that with a rock or a stick. So it's a bit more bush proof, especially for what I do with this thing. These are 735 mil in length, full open distance. The remote reservoirs went to 764, so it's about 30 mil longer. And for the price, 30 mil, yeah, nah. I didn't think it was worth it. Absolutely, if I wanted to go longer, I probably would have gone Superior in their long travel shocks. But then the problem is, you start looking at all those, then you got to look at upgrading your long arms and all that sort of stuff. And I just didn't want to go that far with this build. One, it's a lot of money, and two, I guess it takes away a bit of that reliability and legalness. With long arms, they require a welding kit, and then you've got to technically get it all engineered and all that crap. And I just didn't want to go to that point, not for this vehicle anyway. As it is an all-rounder, I mean, I do use it for the bush, but also daily driver. So for me, it was just smarter and more logical and more ergonomically better to go with these. And I really do like the Dobinson stuff. Which way do shocks mount? Which way do sharks mount? Sharks do not mount in a single universal way. Who would have thought? It's a big shock and a lot of little room. So guys, we've got the first shocker in, and I've made a very common mistake. and it sucks because it means I've got to take the shock back out. So I'll turn the camera around here. So this top mount here, I've put that bloody washer on the wrong way. So it's meant to be facing outwards like that one. And as you can see, as I've gone to do it up, it's now touching pretty much that shocker. So it's actually meant to be facing outwards, that way when the shocker moves around, it's got clearance. And I put it on the wrong way. Bugger it. So bolt's got to come back off, got to slide that back off, flip the washer around and then put it back on again, and hopefully the shock doesn't press up too much because it took a bit of effort to get it on. But anyway, we'll do that. And then we can jack it back up and see how much extra trouble we have gotten, which I'm really keen to see. Alrighty guys, update. We have got both shocks in now, both shocks are bolted up, and we're just doing a bit of clearance testing. I haven't actually gone with a panhard upgrade yet on this, which I will do, but I just haven't got around to it. It's just more cost and all that. But what happens is, because it hasn't got the pan upgrade, the diff is one-sided a bit due to the lift, brings the shock and the coil very close to each other. So I've had to space the shock out a little bit, just use some thicker washers, and it's still got heaps of thread on it, so it's still got plenty of grab, and it's still on the bush part of the shocker mount. It's just spaced it off a little bit just to give it a bit of clearance. And so what we've done is we've jacked it up, make sure it cleared, and now we've just got it on the bump stop there, making sure it clears, which it does. We've just got the jack up underneath there, as you can see. This is not even full suspension trouble. This is just as far as the little jack would go with the wood. Yeah, as you can see, the front's still got a bit more in it, and so is this rear. Currently got this rear sway bar just disconnected because it needs about 10 mil more. So I'll just unscrew it down a bit more just to allow the rear to do full travel. So under here, this is our shocker, which you can see here, that's the shocker there to there. So we've still got well over 50 mil there of up travel of shock, which is good, and that's hard on our bump stops. So as I explained earlier, I have put in some progressive extended bump stops and 225 mil spacers. Mainly I did that was to do with coils and also tyre fitment. So to keep the original guards with the bigger tyres, I needed a lot of bump stop. So as you can see in there, it gets quite close. Once I put a rear bar on this, I'll be able to take out one of those spaces. We'll be able to get a bit more up travel, but yeah, it's very limited. So that's pretty much as far up as it'll go. And as you can see there, got nice clearance there still between the coil and the shocker, which is good. So I was talking about these earlier. These are a 2 to 3 inch sway bar extension, so that will help with a bit more flex and also make it drive a lot better because this is now more level back with the ground, whereas before it was like this because of the 3-inch lift. They also use a genuine bush, which I really like, and bolts, so if it ever does flog out, you can easily just take that part off and replace it. So these were new, although they're dirty at the moment, but yeah, I just chucked them in probably a couple of weeks ago. Did the bushes as well. So this is the original sway bar. You can go flexi sway bars, but I don't think I will need it for this setup. I'll see how it goes first, but I'm just trying to save myself a bit of money. Today we're going to go ahead and upgrade our brake line, wherever it is. There it is. So we've got an extended brake line to go in because now we've got longer flex. It means we're going to need more travel. Do the diff breather as well. I've got new diff breather kit to go in because these factory ones were shit anyway. They only go up here onto the chassis rail, which is crap. These are a flexi coil, so they aren't designed to flex. That's why they've got quite a tight tension coils up the top there, just to give them a bit more travel when they expand out. I'll measure this now currently on the bump stop, and that way you guys get to see its full travel from up to down, and yeah, we'll get to see what the difference is. We've got the measuring tape. Let's measure it and see what the difference is between the old ones and the new ones. So again, just go into the center of the wheel, just roughly of course. So we're looking at there. So 780, which is quite impressive. As Dad just mentioned, which was a good idea, we're going to jack up Paddy because it's currently got a 2-inch lift with 2-inch shocks, and we'll compare them so we get to see the difference in how much further down travel we get with 4-inch shocks. So again, we're going to measure from the center of the wheel and to the tray on this. Again, we're not measuring to compare exactly, we're measuring the distances in total. So that there is 575. $685. Shit, that's actually got a bit more than I thought. So 685. What did we say it was before? Should have written that down. So now we've got the car back down on the ground, sitting level. We'll measure it again. See what its ride height is at currently. 630. So yeah, 610. Yeah, okay.
What was it before?
I can't remember. Actually 615. So 615. 615 and we'll 780 on down travel. So that's, what's that? Yeah, 65. 165 mil total down travel. Opposed to Paddy's 110 mil. So yeah, you're talking.
So 50 mil.
Yeah, 50
So
mil.
2 inches extra.
2 inches, yeah. 2 inches extra.
Which calculates about right, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly right. Alright, so we've got the tape measure out. Let's measure. 450. There you go. So tuck tight between the center to there. 450. Our extended travel, as in full flex, is 780. So that's actually quite good. Next step, extended brake lines, and Dad's going to do it for me. Aren't you, Dad? You want to do these for me?
No.
Why not?
Because I'm busy.
They're easy. So
I got to brush my teeth or something.
you're still busy paying the door. So we've got these from Roadrunner Off-Road, rated brake lines, extended 5 to 8 inches extra in length for travel. Now the fun part, putting them in, which Dad's going to do for me. So we're out here today just testing out the new suspension setup on the rear of the car, just down some local tracks here along the river. I just wanted to see how good this thing flexes, and I gotta say I'm pretty impressed. It's got a lot of down travel. You gotta remember, these are big 34s and they're at full PSI at the moment, so they're pumped right up, and it's pretty much nearly dropping them at the seal height. So that is a lot of down travel, and I'll put up the specs on the screen, but yeah, it's made a huge difference to the rear end of this setup, and I think we're pretty much at the limits of what we can do before we start going crazy with, you know, more higher end modifications such as long arms, bigger sway bars, all that sort of stuff, dropout cones, the list could go on. So I'm quite happy with where we've got this, and I think this is going to be awesome off-road. And combine this with a good suspension setup in the front, this thing's going to be an animal. And then I might even put a locker in it as well. We'll see how we go. I don't know, if I put a locker in, I might outdrive Dad too much. Might make him upset. Now in the rear, I am running, previously before we did this video, I put in some rear 3-inch flexi coils. These coils, with this travel, mind you, this is still sway bar in, the coil is just seated. So once I pull the sway bar link off, mind you, that's an extended sway bar link. Once I pull that sway bar link out, it drops about another 20 mil. So it's still got 20 more mil in the shock. And then the coil's pretty much just firm, but you can nearly feel it starting to want to move. So like if you yank it hard enough, it will move around a little bit, but it's still in there. And I think if you went any smaller in coil, or you didn't go flexi coils, then you'd probably be looking at coil retainers for this setup. So I think this works quite well. It means I save myself a bit of money in terms of not having to buy those additional mods. And I think at this down travel, you wouldn't want to go any more, because you can see the rear wheel is starting to do a bit of rear steer here. And what I mean by that is it's starting to move forward, and we don't want it met in the front driver's seat. So that there, I think, works really well. I will be upgrading to long heavy duty arms eventually, but I'm going to try and keep it like this for now because I'm not doing stupid wheeling at the moment. We're just doing, you know, mediocre core to hard tracks, and I think this setup at the moment is adequate for that. So I've saved myself a bit of money, and I've still got quite a lot of down travel out of my rear suspension. I think I've done pretty well, and I'm really keen to go test this out now. I can't wait till we get up into the bush. Unfortunately, where I live, this bushland is all I got. So some rutted out tracks, mud. Well, in winter time it's all muddy through here, in summer it's like hard concrete. But it was a good little spot just to flex her out, just to see what she can do. And yeah, I mean, the front barely moves on these things, as probably most people know, unless you start doing a few things to them. They're like bricks in the front end. So all this is mainly just rear suspension at the moment that's actually working, because the front's basically nearly still level, and it's quite a deep rut. Let me know in the comments below, how do you rate my setup in the rear suspension? Do you think what I've done is right? Do you think there's other things that I probably should be attending to, such as panhards, maybe upgrading the arms? Maybe they're not strong enough for this setup, I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. Or would you run this setup in your own patrol at home? Keen to hear what you have to say. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that setup, and I'm gonna hop back in the car and try and wheel myself out of this rut without getting stuck, because I've got heaps of flex, but I still don't have lockers. So it's like, the rear of this thing is like an open diff at the moment. Even though it's an LSD, it's had 430,000 Ks put on it, and I bet it's never been touched in its life. So you can imagine how sloppy it is. Will I fix that up, or will I get a locker? I haven't decided yet. In the comments below, what do you reckon I should do? Should I try and tighten the LSD, or should I just not muck around and put an air locker in it? I'm not sure yet. I haven't decided. Do I? Yeah. Let me know. Keen to hear your thoughts.